Thank you, thank you. You guys give Trey a round of applause. And then give yourself a round of applause. Hey, listen, guys, I'm Renita Young. I'm an award-winning broadcast financial journalist by trade, and I'm here to talk to you about something that I know we all have in common. So do me a favor, raise your hand if you've ever felt fear. Yeah? Okay, I'm in the right room. Good. Well, listen, fear had me so bound that I was afraid of people. I was afraid of what they could do to me. I was afraid of my mistakes messing up my future. And worst of all, I was caught up in this cycle of self-doubt, self-sabotage, and paralysis. Have you ever been so afraid of something that you were completely paralyzed? Well, guys, the legendary Les Brown, my mentor, says that so many people are not living their dreams because they're living their fears, and that was my life. So listen, one day, I'd had it. I had sabotaged the last friendship, the last relationship, and I said, I'm gonna get rid of every fear I've ever had in my life. So I challenged myself to actually write down all of my fears. Now, it took me a few days, but I found out something pretty interesting, that 3 of my biggest fears were stage fright, numbers, and making a mistake. But that didn't make any sense because I was dealing with those every day at work as a broadcast financial journalist. So then it took me down a rabbit hole to research this fear. And I found out 3 fundamental truths about fear. I want you to write this down because in these truths lie the antidote of fear. The first truth that I found out was the purpose of fear. Did you know that fear is not actually here to harm us? Fear is actually here to keep you safe. Researchers at Northwestern Medicine say that fear is actually an indicator that there's something that lies ahead. It's not here to paralyze you. Number 2, remember how I wanted to get rid of every fear I've ever had? Impossible. Spoiler alert. Because sometimes fears come back with fire. And that way, you get to actually deal with it in a different way, and you must deal with it. And it's actually possible, though, to coexist with fears. And you can do that because of what Mark Twain said. He said that courage is not necessarily the absence of fear, but it is the mastery of fear. That's one of the things that he says. And so we master our fears by digging into them, dissecting them, rendering them impotent against us. And then we do like I like to do, give it a job. And so in my case, because I was afraid of the impending financial downturn when I was in graduate school, I instead chose to research what was happening in the markets. And then I gave it a job as my motivator to learn more and more each year about what was happening in markets. Last fundamental truth that I have is that a lot of times our biggest fears are attached to our areas of influence, and our areas of influence are our money makers. So the real question becomes, how long are you going to let fear keep you from your fortune, right? Very simple. And if all else fails, you guys, I want you to remember this. My 5-year-old niece, Ivy, just graduated from kindergarten, and at our church, we do a special ceremony. We celebrate all the graduates of the year. They walk down the aisle graduation style. But she was the youngest, and she was too afraid to walk down first. But instead, this little girl got in front, we opened the doors, and she ran up the aisle. I mean, with full force, this itty bitty girl ran, but she had a smile on her face, she was laughing, and guess what? She was never afraid to walk down that aisle again. So I want you to face, embrace, act, and run! Face, embrace, act, and run. Say it with me. Face, embrace, act, and run directly into that fear. I'm Renita Young, and I'm here to help you deal with fear. Thank you. Yes.
You're Renita Young, and I'm here to help you conquer fear.
Conquer fear.
Yes. Conquer. Listen, you were smooth, baby. What she said, oh yeah, and I like the clarity. I was, and I just couldn't take all the notes quick enough. So I said, well, I'm gonna get the video. So I'm going to really. How many blocked out copy of what we've done? Raise your hands. Yeah. And so we have it and put it together so you can look and watch and learn it. But I love your presence, your charisma, and just how you brought it out, and you had clarity. How many can understand the picture she was painting? Yes. So you did an excellent job. And you were involved in radio?
I was well, I have been, and I still am actually. Right now, I'm a broadcaster for a financial news network in Chicago. So I cover the biggest stocks that move markets every day, and I was afraid to do that before I started it.
Yes. Yeah, I was on radio in Chicago.
You were. I remember hearing the stories about you.
Yes,
So,
fantastic. Looking forward to working with you.
Thank
Great
you.
job. Give a round of applause. Yeah.